This is the last bit of the road to One Source Live. Just firstly, like to say thank you to all the media for making the time to come here, and the talent as well, because none of this would be possible without any of you guys. And just a quick background, because I know you guys don't want to hear my voice. You have questions for the talent here in the front. Just a quick one on what One Source is about for us. So One Source Live conceptually was born of the idea of Absolut vodka. So Absolut vodka comes from one small town. Everything is produced in this town in Sweden. The little town is called Aarhus. And conceptually that's not relevant for Africa and South Africa. So as the team here, we translated that into the idea of Africa being the one source of all humanity and the one source of all creativity. That then gave us the campaign that we did with Khuli Chana, where we went around Africa doing the album, met all of these amazing people, put together a documentary, made a #1 selling album on iTunes. So all of those wonderful things happened, and One Source Live is the evolution of that. So bringing to life this idea of collaboration and bringing Africa together. So yeah, that's pretty much it from my side. If you guys have any questions to pose to the board team and the talent here, you go ahead.
Anyone with questions?
Hi, I'm from the start. I just want to find out, is this officially maybe like the first time you guys perform together again as a person?
No.
Unfortunately not.
So what can I expect from you guys for this specific event?
Same shit, different day.
No, we came, we've been doing a few projects, but we've selected the projects that we're doing. Since last year we did an ad for another brand, a major brand in South Africa. Then we did the DSTV Delicious, and we've done maybe another 2 shows in December. But we kept it pretty quiet because we are also now embarking on a project together. We'll be dropping a single hopefully in a couple of months, and then working on an album throughout the winter. So yeah, this show like this, I think, is a great complement to that process. So this is one of the select moments that we think we will be presented in a very good light.
He's doing the business thing.
Myself, I'm just happy because I managed to go and catch a crocodile and made shoes out of it. I'm wearing them today. So I'll be showcasing my crocodile shoes as well.
Yeah. And this is what we have to deal with.
But it's nice to see you guys also. We're going to also ask you questions as well, So make use of this time now.
I'm sure we can all agree that it's by popular demand that Bongo Maffin is coming back, and we've dedicated ourselves to the process for the fans, and I'm sure they will feel that when we get on stage on Saturday.
It's fine, guys. We've been practicing. Don't worry. And the band is hard.
Yeah.
The band is sick. So you should bring a life jacket or something.
Yeah.
Take your vitamins.
A fire suit. Man, have to
Take
bring
your
a fire suit,
vitamins. Drink your water. Hydrate.
So, yeah.
Okay. Khuli Chana.
I have a question. I'm not really certain who to direct it to, but I think I'll direct it to you. In terms of the new talent that you added to the roster, who went into those decisions on picking the guys to add to the
New talent, you have to speak to Shoma Josie.
Yeah.
Shout out to her.
Mina na xilunga lexi tivi to Rainforest Stage, they were looking for showcasing some of the most exciting new acts. And being that I'm a relatively new act as well, I think they were like, okay, maybe I'll know some people. And they were wrong. I don't know, I'm joking. I do. And I called some of the artists that I think are most exciting right now in the country. One of them is sitting here, Thandiswa, who's got a remarkable voice, You're already nodding, so you're a fan already, right? So it's those people who have like some people being very, very, very excited about the music they're making, but then I wanted to give them a bigger stage, right? So my idea was like, I hate when people just talk. This is one thing I love about Absolut, that they love to put things into practice. So they don't just say, okay, support like upcoming acts, and then it's just the word that they say, you know? And sometimes just putting someone on a stage is not enough. So I said, what I'll have my artists do on my stage is that I've booked 9 of them. 3 producers, 3 rappers, 3 singers. And then I've put them into 3 groups, and they'll each make a new song which will be heard for the first time at One Source Live on my Rainforest stage.
And what do they record the music?
So actually it's going to be a live recording. People are going to witness it being recorded on that stage. They've worked on their music. Everyone knows what they're going to bring. So you're not going to watch people just writing on stage or whatever. Everyone knows what they're going to do. But I really wanted as well people to witness live creativity, like see what do we actually go through when you put together a song. And yeah, it's kind of like an intimate experience, you know, where some of the artists that I'm really excited about right now will be there, right? Like J Molly as well, who I'm so excited about, is going to be on my stage. People like Gemini Major, and then more established people like Youngster, CPT. So now I'm like combining them so that like an upcoming artist can also collaborate with someone who's better known. I feel that makes a difference in a young artist's career, you know. Rainforest stage, see you there.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, I didn't even see you. What's up?
I'm always lost the internet.
He sent me his rap for his part, and it's really fire. Like I'm really excited. Everyone's coming in with like full heat, so I'm excited.
Okay, I have a question for Khuli.
Yeah.
I just want to know how you finding your journey or partnership with Absolut so far.
I don't know anybody as lucky as I am. Period. Like this is we've been rocking Maftown Heights for about 8 years, and this has been my dream event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rocking with #1 iconic group in Africa, Bongo Maffin, has been like a dream for me. Show my Josie. We've got #1 Afro-futuristic dude in Africa right now, Osborne Macharia. So I've always wanted to kind of simplify what I do and amplify it. And that's what One Source Live is about, It's not this long lineup, you know what I mean, and the same shit every time. Now, you're gonna see the realist in the game. It's not about who's #1 on the charts. It's about who's constantly pushing the envelope. It's about who's literally changing the game. It's about who's original and authentic. And you're looking at it right now. Shout out to Youngster. I see Patoranking in the building. Why I say? Yeah, so I'm like I said, I'm blessed. I'm lucky. Shout out to Absolut.
I got a question for Osborne. Man, you're always behind the scenes, behind the lens. Now having to step in front of it. Just tell us about that experience, and why is it important? I mean, for the arts, that people like you are recognized, besides just like a photo by or like that we know who Osborne is.
I think that was the hardest thing ever, just being in front of the lens. But I think it's quite commendable what Absolut did, be part of the revolution, because you are part actually of the revolution. So being in front of the lens was, I think, one of the most strangest things, but a blessing in itself. And I think that was a starting point. Like now, people can actually see that creatives and photographers are part of this big revolution happening.
Oh, are we going to see more of you in front of the lens going forward?
I don't think so, but let me not say no. When it comes, we'll do it.
All right.
Question for Khuli. Part of this festival is to make Africa noticeable around the world, right? So would you say that with the new talent that you guys have and the new talent that you might not have been exposed to yet, would you say that Africa is progressive enough to stand our own ground compared to the rest of the world?
Yeah, stand our own ground. And I don't think we need a Black Panther 2 for us to know that with a flavor, you know, and you know, progressive. I think I'll give that to Patoranking, you know, who's constantly waving that flag so high for Africa, you know. Yeah, Pato, how you feel about that?
I'm not putting on the spot.
Yeah,
Good afternoon, everybody. You know where I come from. You have to greet before you. I'm sorry for coming late. I'm not really a late person. I just, you know, I came in this morning. I want to say a big shout out to Absolut and big shout out to Khuli. You know, he's my big bro, and you know, if there's anything I respect, is the courage he has to bring his vision into reality. You know, I'm a fan of Khuli. I remember the first time I saw Khuli performing live was in Durban. You know, on the deep tour.
That.
I was like, yo, who's this guy? Like, I knew it was Khuli, but that was the first time I saw him performing. I was like, nah, I just can't wait to vibe with him, man. When Khuli came into when I got a call from someone. I said, yo, I'm related to Khuli, and what's up? What's up? In the studio. You know, and I was like, yo, I'm ready. You know, before he came to the studio, I was already in the mood. And I know a lot of people don't know this, but I think we made no lie in less than 10 minutes. Yeah. You know how it feels when you're working with a fan. Yeah. You know, somebody you really respect is an icon. And I would say I'm very happy to be part of this. You know, it's a huge platform for the fact that we're trying to sell Africa to the world, and it is happening right here in the motherland. It's a very good one, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity.
And you know, to answer your question as well, it's more, you know, more these events, more collaborations, which is what's going to make us, you know, better, and which is also going to just change the Western, you know, perception of Africa. You know, I think, yeah, you know, we definitely need to unite. It's not just a fancy word. Now it's our time, you know, and yeah, I want to see more of these moments. Yeah.
Okay, question for Trevor. What do you take away from the event on Saturday in terms of fashion and art?
I think the best takeout is to kind of see authentic African fashion presented by Africans and from a new perspective, and also reuniting understanding of who you are. Because I think that future is in true, and it's a reuniting in Africa where we're not a third world country, but we are a country, and colonization does not exist in our mind, and we're not limited by anything but by ourselves, you know. And I think it is important for us to reunite ourselves and in that kind of mindset, and to kind of translate that into fashion and how we stand, how we grow, and how we present ourselves to the world.
Okay. Jay, I mean, your journey continues, dude. I mean, internet, music, went back. Now, I mean, look, you're sitting on the table. We got the legendary Bongo, you got Khuli. Your journey just keeps going, dude. I mean, for you, being part of this absolute thing now, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, for me it's dope, you know, being here with so many great artists, you know. And I've never been involved with a festival where it wasn't like just hip hop. Always, you know, done Major League, Manchester, it was only hip hop, you know. So yeah, it's just dope to be with so many diverse guys.
Oh, well. I mean, I can pose the same question to you.
Oh, to me, well, for me, this is like something very big. You know, I've never been put on such a big platform, especially as an upcoming artist. So I'm basically just going to do the best that I can. You know, also just need to prove that upcoming artists have as much talent as those that are given the platform already. So I just want to bring something different, and I'm honored to just be even surrounded by these people. You know, when Shoma Josie actually called me, I thought I'd be and many more until the poster came out. So I was like, whoa. You know, like always and more. You know, like literally always and more. So it's so exciting to not only be seen as an upcoming artist, but be seen as a creative as well, that is part of this revolution. You know, so I'm really just excited.
Alright. Youngster.
Kaapstad.
Yeah, man.
When you say my name, think of Kaapstad.
Aware.
Think of Cape Town.
Aware. So, and I mean, you're also like quite a creative guy. I mean, your visuals are sick. We saw your latest ones. So, being part of this whole creative process, I mean, for you, again, I mean, repping Kaapstad, obviously.
Aware.
What is your take on this whole thing?
Look at the stable, bro. Look at his faces. This is like the best of the best. You know what I mean? It's the top of the creative pyramid. The talent pool here is full. And it's not speedy. I watched that man on TV when I was a lighter. I watched that man on TV when I was a lighter. Bongo Maffin, I'm still going to baseline on Thursday night. There's the man there. I'm smoking ganja there with everybody. As a normal commuter. As a normal commuter, you know what I mean? So for me it's special to be here because I'm fans of each one of them individually. There's reasons why I gravitate to the music for specific reasons, you know what I mean? The creativity or the originality, the authenticity of it, you know what I'm saying? So we each share a commonality, but also I can learn from them. And that's happening now, but even when they open their mouth, I keep quiet so I can listen to what they're saying. This is game they're giving away, bro. You know, there's people that pay to sit in places like this and get this knowledge from this table. You know, so for me, even I'm a student here as I'm learning, you know, but I'm just hoping that Cape Town will be well represented through me. You see now I'm wearing a cap, it says Google. I chose it for a reason. It could have said anything. It could have said Kaapstad, it could have said Wynberg, it could have said whatever area, you know, but this is me trying to unify the Cape as well as bringing the Cape back to South Africa also, letting you know that we all also here, man, you know. Because Cape Town is separate, but you know, some people don't even know who I am in South Africa. But then you check the music videos out there, there's views. The same thing with a man like this coming from, you know, a different part of Africa. Some people in Cape Town don't know who he is, but the numbers is there. You know, so this is also a way for us to join the cultures and let everybody, his fan base know about me, my fan base know about him, same with Molly, same with George, you know what I mean? So it's about this kind of collaboration is needed.
Nice.
I have a question for Shoma Josie.
What's up?
It's Jay Carson from Tantra Rocks, the Pictures of the Pictures. What's your biggest challenge since you've worked with Absolut Vodka, you know?
Artists.
Artists
are the worst. Trying to
put
artists together.
So yeah.
I love Absolut. I'm so glad that Absolut was the brand that approached me because I don't have to pretend to like their brand. You know what I mean?
I can relate.
You know what I mean? Because they're actually really, really dope. So working with them has just been a pleasure, and they let me do anything. They're like, dude, you have a stage, book some artists. I'm like, no, what I'm gonna do is, and they're like, cool, you know, whatever. They let me do whatever I want to do. So that's cool. But working with these guys, oh my god, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's so exciting, you know. But artists are crazy. Trying to get everyone to do what they need to do on time and stuff like that. But it's coming together, and those 3 tracks that we're making, they sound like they're gonna be fire. But guys, it was a lot. It was a lot of work chasing up these guys.
Can I just say something? For us, you know, although we've been in our individual capacities involved with the industry one way or another, when it comes to Bongo Maffin, it's almost like another separate entertainment life that you're living, you know. And for us, it feels like we've been cryogenically frozen for 12 years. And then we're coming out, you know, after moving into a whole new musical galaxy. And they're these kids, because when we were coming up, I think one of the toughest things was, or one of the saddest things was, when we were at the top of the pile, we never got to see an artist as we were as exciting as we were supposedly, you know. And now to be able to sit back on your rocking chairs at Madala and see all these exciting kids, it's a wonderful thing. And this whole effervescence that's coming together as this show on this Saturday. It's just going to be a wonderful spectacle, and I want to be there, man. I want to be there to see it.
But it's true, you guys were really like, I mean, I've seen you now coming back, and it was like the best time of my life as well, and I can't wait to see you again. But like, it definitely, I can see what you mean by, you know, at that time there was no one as exciting as you guys, you know, like my whole hairstyles and everything comes from Thandiswa Mazwai. That's when, like, the whole inspiration of what people now call Majosi braids, you know. None of this was gonna be possible if like you guys didn't set that and say like, this is cool as well, you know. None of what we are at, like, okay, we're cool now, but only because you guys laid that foundation, you know.
Yeah. It'll be exciting to see what happens in another 10 years after the work that you guys do. So we each pay it forward. Yeah.
Joseph, is there a plan with the tracks that you're going to record, like after the performance and everything? Is there a plan to do something with that?
So for me right now, it's just about people like witnessing this happen and people being able to say we went there, we weren't just like given stuff, we also felt we were a part of something, right? So these 3 tracks now will exist out there. That's the first thing that I want to get through. Then depending on how they come out and people that are in the crowd and what they feel and whatever, we'll decide what we actually do with those tracks. But for now, it's just about making those tracks and having them sort of out there and having the audience witness live creativity happening, you know? And like witnessing some of the most interesting combinations of people. Like I'm not putting like Youngster on a typical hip hop beat that he'd be on. I mean, you know, I'm putting people on unexpected things with people that they wouldn't normally be collaborating with as well.
Okay, I have a question for Patoranking. Do you think Africans effectively tell their stories through their art?
That's a good start.
Yeah, that's a very nice question. I would say we're just beginning to understand the importance and the value of our culture. You know, there's a saying that they say in Nigeria that the king is not appreciated in his homeland, in his country. You know, not until we start seeing people from the Western world having a twist to our own very culture. You know, take for example, look at the Kendrick Lamar and Caesar video. I would tell you for free, like maybe sometime last year or 2 years ago, I can't imagine Africa being explained in that form, that visual form. You know, I just think it's just on the rise. You know, we're beginning to understand our culture, the importance, the value, because we're getting more attention right now from the outside, which is very sad. Those guys, they're out of content.
So true. So true. And the other thing, I guess, as well, like, we'll see, for instance, what happens with these tracks that we do. But like, it's like, for me, what's also important with making that happen is kind of taking African artists and putting them at the forefront. So making sure that we own the music that we do and that we are at the forefront, so that it doesn't become that the biggest Afrobeat songs are coming from Drake or someone. Because you can say it's fine, like Africa could trend now and we might still not be at the forefront of it. That's a genuine fear. It might also be that, okay, it's cool to be African as long as you've moved to the US. It's not cool to be based here, right? Because, I mean, you know, I don't want to name any like productions or movements or whatever, but it's like, it is awesome, fine, but which one has really like praised like or put on a global platform Africans who are based in Africa? I haven't seen myself personally. Even the Africans who are in the big movies and the whatever, they're not here, they don't live here. So what are you saying to young Africans, like actually to make it you have to leave here? Cool, be African, and it's cool right now globally as long as you're not actually here. Which for me, this platform, I want to say, yeah, you know, Africans who are here also can be put on a global stage.
Khuli, what more would you like to see at one source, and what about less?
What more do I want to see?
Yeah.
Dude, I just want us to have like an amazing festival and a party.
Sure.
It's like, we've been talking about this since last year, so it gets a little overwhelming sometimes. And you know, yeah, I'm looking forward to Bongo Maffin shutting it down. You know, looking forward to that performance. But I think, you know, it's this creative revolutionary thing that we're doing, but when it all boils down to it, it's gonna be an amazing party.
An amazing party.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, come party with us, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
I will.
Maphorisa, how do you feel that this festival might affect an ordinary youth member that's creatively inclined, but doesn't really have the resources to do anything? How are you hoping to inspire, assist, or how are you hoping to do that through them and through the festival?
Well, the one thing that I've done is very directly, literally booked young artists to be on my stage and put them on songs with like bigger artists, which I hope will be really, really big for them. And then for other young people, I've been trying to also do cool stuff where I give away tickets to young creative people who, you know, would not have been able to come and witness that. So that's also happening. But otherwise, I also want people to be able to see, like, the artists on my stage be like, okay, I can get there as well. I'm not just booking people who are already known. So an artist who feels like, but I'm not already famous, I should just give up. I want them to know, like, there is actually hope, you know?
It hasn't been much spoken about the visual arts element of it as well. How is that going to be brought to life? And also, how is it going to be incorporated within all the musical acts that we're doing? So how is that going to reach out to music and visual arts and fashion?
In terms of the visual art, what I'll personally be doing, I'm doing a multimedia fashion installation. So basically marrying the kind of worlds that I exist in, the kind of world the kind of art that I want to, that I've always dreamed of making and being a part of. And just in terms of the space, like we can expect like a whole lot of collaborations as well, like different visual artists coming together and just different, I guess a different way of presenting art as opposed to like a standard gallery, 4 white walls and just like fluorescent lights. A lot of work has gone into it, a lot of collaboration, just a lot of a lot of collaboration. Like I personally have collaborated with like probably like 15 artists, and it's just about reimagining Africa and reclaiming our narrative.
So the work we're going to be doing on the game once was live, and where else can people find it? I'm sure there'll be lots of photography happening. So how can people who are not there continue consuming the work we do on that day retail activities?
So the work will not just stop. So for example, I'll be shooting a live fashion film. I'll be shooting a live lookbook of like my daily collection as well. So the work will live online, so we can expect like live Insta story, feeds, streams, but as well as like for me, I create content from a point of view where I always think about the other who is in a remote area and can't access it, because a lot of my work lives digitally and online. So definitely I'll be shooting with an eye for digital consumption.
How far are we with the Google search project? I think it's really good that we actively pick how Africa should be represented. What are we doing about that? Because I feel like a lot of people know about that, and it's so important for us to literally say, this is what Africa really looks like.
Yeah, so the arts intervention, we are still working on it. It's a slower process than what we expected it to be, just because of the amount of scale we actually need to get to for that page to start changing. But what we have started getting is sort of new inputs from other artists actually requesting to be part of it, which is really, really great to see from our side. Beyond One Source Live, and into One Source Live 2 and 3 and 4 hopefully. So where we are right now is probably not where we expect it to be, but from a continuation perspective, it's not something that we're going to stop. So from an artist perspective, we are still looking for people to submit work that's going to be part of this. From a consumer perspective, we're still driving traffic to people to vote for the content that they want to see. And from a brand perspective, we still have a full commitment to changing that first page of Google's image search. Sorry guys, just one other thing. From a execution perspective, I'd like Osborne to touch on what to expect from his exhibition, because he's got some interesting stuff that he's been working on for that. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Okay. So this is a project we've been working on for the last 1.5 years, and it's like a 4-stage process. So the first stage will be launched at the festival in virtual reality, and the next phases will happen in Nairobi. But I think it's quite cool that we're doing the first launch here, and from there we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
What is it?
We'll see on Saturday. But what we did, just to give you a nutshell, so we collaborated with a similar thinking breed of creatives back home. So what they do is they take abandoned airplanes and they convert them into furniture art. So we collaborated with them, and so what you're going to launch is part of that whole experience.
Guys, the creatives have been rather secretive with some of the stuff. I mean, we still actually don't know what Trevor's doing at One Source, so just a surprise to you guys. And from the panel, we are still missing Fabrice Montero, one of the other exhibitors who will be there on Saturday. Another really, really exciting artist from Senegal, who I think is gonna bring something really, really interesting with his sort of Afro-social activist sort of point of view. So that's another thing that we're going to be looking forward to there. Any more questions?
Basically, I have 2 questions, one for Khuli and one for Thandiswa. Since Bongo Maffin have been coming back together, should we be expecting something similar with Murate or?
Most definitely. Done. Yeah, consider it done. Yeah.
Basically, okay, for the talent. As you guys already know, like times have changed, sound is different. So will there be like collaborations after the One Source, like between the youngsters as well as no disrespect, but like the vintage guys?
I think certain things have changed there, but the sun is still rising from the east and setting in the west. So certain things remain the same as long as you're in this life, you know. The struggle to put food on the table and everything, you know. The struggle to survive, you know, is still part and parcel of what mankind is going through. But the arts and everything definitely changed. But for us, we are also people who get challenged by doing things that we have not done before. Yeah. Because you don't want to stay in the same place forever. You want to keep on, you know, what can I say? It's like Dr. Dre coming up with the headphones. That idea had to come to him because he was so much long in the industry, you know. So there is also gifts of time that are waiting for us to explore because of our longevity in the industry. So we're still around. We're just ahead of certain things in our lives.
You also asked about the collaborations. I think, when you can maybe vocally, the real estate might be at a premium, but when it comes to production and stuff, we definitely will be involving a lot of young musicians. We're looking to do a single dropping in about 2 months called Bongo Harare. We haven't recorded it, but I'm sure then we'll be working with a lot of exciting young musicians as well as established musicians. Because Kalawa, that was always the success, that we were always able to mix it up with older musicians. There's a lot of legendary South African musicians on Kalawa compositions from Yuma Sekela, Mokoem Kubata, Bradon himself, and many, many others, Oliver Mtukuzi. We've had those. So it's always a good thing to have a mix of the ages.
We love music, right? We love music, and it's, we use music to express so many things in our lives, because music has an energy. It's not easy to come up with what music is, because they all say in the beginning was word in it. So every word has a sound. So we are all byproducts of sound, vibrations. So we're coming from that understanding and perspective of life. That's why if a good tune is being done by a 13-year-old, it's a good tune to anybody who understands it's a good tune. We're not into prejudging or anything, but we are part of this energy called music. And anytime when it visits us and inspires, we've got always something to say, because we express life, our politics, our social life. We have got a musical perspective to life. I don't know if you get that, say, like a writer, a journalist maybe. You've got a writer's perspective to life. We have got a musical perspective. We see life in beats and rhythms, I see that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hi guys, just 2 final things from our side. So beyond the music and big headliners that we've got here, we're going to be at One Source. We also have the 90 market sort of installations where all the other guys as well, so the smaller up and coming crafts guys are going to be there doing their thing as well as representing their creativity. So that's also something to look out for at One Source in the Market Fair area. And from a ticketing perspective, there will be tickets sold at the door. And finally, because it's indoor, regardless of what the weather looks like, One Source Live is going to happen. And we're going to pack it out.
Woo! So long.
Any last questions?
I have a question for Trevor Stephen. Who do you draw inspiration from? An African artist?
An African artist? There's so many.
Or creative?
I look up to Osborne's work. It's a big inspiration. The whole team, Kevo, Eloff, and Andrew, as well as Mary Sibande. She's very important to my creative process. Mante Rubani. There are a lot of artists, visual artists that I draw inspiration from. But I think a great part of my inspiration comes from home and my understanding of what it is. So I was born and bred in Kimberley, and that's always my inspiration. But secondly, Africa as a continent is a big inspiration for me, and there's like this need to share and tell my stories from where I come from.
Thank you guys for coming. We'll have photo opportunities by the banner walls with stars. We also have drinks at the bar.
Yeah, where's that?